Welcome to this edition of the Hornet Spotlight, the first edition of the Hornet Spotlight this school year for 2015-16. As most of you are aware, we have made some major changes in the high school this year, starting with our principal. We are very happy to have Mrs. Elizabeth Walters with us. We stole her from Southport, as we have stolen so many people from Southport, and they're all good people. We're very happy and very fortunate to have her. She comes to us from the high school where she was an assistant principal for, if I recall correctly, 8 years. We do miss Mr. Cox, although he's not very far away. He's out in the working with the bus drivers as the director of transportation. So we were able to keep Mr. Cox on, and we've made a great addition in Mrs. Walters. And if you haven't had a chance to meet her during the back to school night and other times, we'll talk about some times when you would have a chance to meet her, because she is a very special individual, and again, I think we're very fortunate to have her. But speaking of fortunate, to start the school year, one of the biggest things we've had to start this school year was a huge win in the opening football game. We put one on Lutheran. I believe the score was 74-21, so the football team is kind of the buzz in the school right now, so we'll take it from there. The second week of the season, week 2, I believe, is the 28th of August. Although this is a September show, we're kind of giving away our show date here. On August 28th, very special time for everyone in Beech Grove, as we will be reliving 30 years ago when the football team was undefeated. Maybe this year's team can match them. 1985 team undefeated. Coach Hoskins and the players plan to be back on Friday the 28th. You won't want to miss it. We're playing Park Tudor. I don't know if we can put up another 70 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did. You want to come out, see those guys. Obviously, they're a little bit older now, but I'm sure they could run a few plays if we ask them to. But September 28th, a big time for the community of Beech Grove. It's the home opener for football, and we will be honoring the team of 1985, undefeated team. And it'll be, I understand from Coach English that a lot of members of that team will be there. Looking forward to seeing Coach Hoskins and those guys on that date. That is also the home opener, so we'll get your first chance to see the Hornets on their home field. On September 11th. September 11th is homecoming week. I believe that is Cecina. So I know all the alumni want to make sure they're here for that. That is 3 weeks or 2 weeks after the home opener. The 4th, we're at home against Speedway, but then against Cecina on the 11th. That again is the homecoming game. It has traditionally been the Cecina game, and it will be again this year. So alums, make sure you mark that on your calendar. Hopefully we're going into that game 3-0, and it'll be a big test against Cecina. So football, Park Tudor on the 28th, Speedway on the 4th, and homecoming on the 11th against Cecina. Short term there. Also for parents in the month of September, the 23rd of September is a Wednesday from 3:30 until 7 o'clock. We've made a little bit of a time change, parent-teacher conferences. If you missed back to school night, you missed that announcement. I'm sure that'll be coming out very soon, but on September 23rd, parent-teacher conferences, so you can schedule those, or you can come in at your own convenience. You come in without an appointment scheduled, you might have to wait for a little bit, but other than that, you should be good for parent-teacher conferences on the 23rd of September. And finally, be looking for information toward the end of the month, September, about intercession. The first intercession starts October 12th. And there will be plenty of opportunities for high school students to become involved in intercession activities, much similar to what we've done in past years. So be looking for that. It's a great opportunity for students to broaden their horizons a bit while school is not in session. But again, the main order of business for this one is the Alumnus Hall of Fame, and it is certainly my pleasure. I'm looking forward to this one. From the class of 2003, we have Miss Katie Gearalds, and Katie is, for a few of the freshmen who see the name on the street sign when they come in the morning, this is her. She is our Alumnus of the Month for September. She is presently the head basketball coach of women's basketball at Marian University. And that doesn't mean I won't skip it later on, but we are very happy to have her. Katie has been a very special person, and she has done a lot to make it very special for all of us here at Beech Grove. We had a very special year 12 years ago, and she was very responsible for it. So the Renaissance Committee very easily selected Katie. This is her first year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame. We have a 12-year waiting period, and she is actually the first one in her class, and I could not think of anybody we would rather start with. We wanted to get her before season got going real hard, but she had a workout this morning. She said, so with these basketball coaches nowadays, there is no off season, right?
That's right.
That's right. So congratulations, and thank you for coming, Katie. 2003, very special year. Get a little bit excited thinking about it. Talk to us about, obviously, we had a state championship team. We talked about the 85 team undefeated.
Right.
Don't want to dwell on the negatives. I think Pike kept us from being the second one. Talk about 2003. Obviously it starts and stops, I think, with the state championship. But anything else that you came here in 99 would have been your first fall of 99?
99, 2000, yeah.
And talk to us a little bit about what it was like making the transition to Beech Grove High School and some of your memories, other than some of the obvious ones.
Yeah, well, obviously 2003 was the most special one. We made a little run there. I think we lost to Pike on a Thursday in the Marion County tournament, and then beat them again next week at their gym. We lost by 1 or 2 here, and then beat them by about 5 or 6 in their place. And we said, okay, this is going to be our time. And then we made a little run. Went to the Hall of Fame tournament out in Newcastle. We were able to win that one, and I think that's the time everybody said, okay, this team can be pretty special. The support from the school, the community was unbelievable. I can remember, friends, classmates tailgating before regional games, before semi-state game, before the state game, the police escorts, just the appearances that we were able to do that year was something that we'll never forget. The whole season was just, a special, special time.
You made the comment, the Pike game, the Hall of Fame tournament, all those things, you felt like you had a special thing. What do you think in your senior year? Be honest, we didn't get, your first 3 years, we didn't even get out of the sectional.
We didn't win a sectional game.
Really? Okay, I'd forgotten that. I knew we hadn't won a sectional. I didn't realize that.
Not even a sectional game.
What was the mindset? What were you thinking state champions, or were you thinking, man, let's just win the sectional, or was it the traditional coach speak, one game at a time kind of thing? What was the mindset? How was your senior year different than the first 3 come tournament time?
I wasn't losing. That was my mindset. I knew that I wasn't going to lose. I was going to do everything I can, and I was so blessed and so fortunate that I had a group of teammates that bought into that. We were here every morning 6 a.m. playing basketball against the guys. We had my brother and some of his friends would come in 6 a.m. and Coach McNew would unlock the gym, and we would play for about an hour every morning right in the fall. So that kind of propelled us. Okay, we play against high school girls. This was a lot easier. But they just bought in. Whether it was me driving to pick them up every morning, they were there. We had 6, 7, 8 girls there every morning, and we just decided that we weren't going to lose. I remember having a conversation with Coach McNew that I just told her, I said, we're not going to lose our last game together. It's just not going to happen. And we talk about it to this day that we're very blessed that we were able to bring that to fruition.
I remember a lot of this stuff like it was yesterday. I remember sitting in the gym watching games and seeing all these coaches come in. Yeah. And we could watch it on TV on ESPN, and at that time ESPN was about the only ones that were carrying that women's basketball. Right. So, here's Mother McGraw, and here's Pat Summit, and here are all these coaches in our gym. Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about what it was like. You talked about your focus being on not losing your last game, right. and I remember you were kind of focused your senior year on that. But at some point that had to enter into it. At what how did that process work with you? Because I think people are always interested. Why does a player go here? Or why do they choose here? What was your thought process, and how did you look at that?
Well, my recruiting process was a little bit easier my senior year because I had committed my junior year to Purdue. I committed in January my junior year to Purdue. But I remember my junior year just being really, really stressful. We were playing Pike at home, and my junior year, or it might have been my sophomore year, but I remember Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Duke, Notre Dame, and Purdue were all in the gym that day. So you're talking Pat Summit, Muffin McGraw, Christy Curry, Jim Foster, Gail Gestincourse, all the head coaches. And I remember thinking, okay, I didn't get nervous often, but I was like, okay, this is I'm a little bit nervous right now. So it was cool to be able to live through that process. The letters, because I committed so early in the rules. Then I avoided all the phone calls, all the text messages. I knew I wanted to go to Purdue. I took my visit to Tennessee. Tennessee was a dream. For the first 3 years, you probably always saw me in a Tennessee shirt here. And I took a visit there, was able to sit down and talk to Coach Summit, and she offered me a scholarship. And 1 week later, I committed to Purdue. I just knew that Purdue was for me. Actually, I was sitting in Mr. Mitchell's algebra class one morning, and I looked at my friend Justin Brown, and I just said, Purdue's for me. And I committed to that weekend, and it just kind of hit me. And I remember the moment. I mean, sitting in class, I don't know what he was teaching.
You mean Mr. Mitchell wasn't getting the algebra through?
Well, he was. I just it was the
You'll
first.
You'll be glad to know that.
I know, it was the first class of the day, so just coming from the gym right to class. And
he was your inspiration.
He was it. That was it.
Good thing you didn't have English or something.
Yeah.
Who knows what it would have been?
Who knows, right? Yeah.
But never second guess. No, I'd forgotten you committed early, so no second guessing.
None.
After you did commit, did they back off?
Yeah.
They did.
Just maybe nowadays they don't so much. Maybe
Okay.
probably on the men's side too. It's maybe a little bit more than the women's side. But I got one letter from the Duke head coach saying that she was sorry and that she missed out on me and that she wished me all the best of luck. And nobody else, I did email and talk to, called the coaches and told them I was going to go to Purdue, and they all wished me the best of luck. And then after that, it all stopped.
Well, that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
What did you learn in that process that you think helps you? Now the shoe's on the other foot. You're the recruiter. You're the one that's going in and talking to people, and it's a little different in the NAIA than Division I. But
Right.
what kind of things did you learn from that help you in your job now?
I remember the coaches that I bonded the most with got along with my whole family. They built a relationship with my mom and my dad, my brother and my sister. They knew what to talk about with me because they found out what was important to me, and they knew that my family was important. So that's my job first and foremost, is to see, okay, get to know this family, get to know what this student athlete likes, dislikes, get to know them on a personal level, and not just treat them like a piece of meat, like you're just going to the butcher shop trying to find a piece of meat. You just got to get to know them on a personal level and talk to them as your friend. I'm honest with them. The question I get all the time at Marion is, are you going to be there for the next 4 years? Are you going to coach me for 4 years? And I'm honest with them. I can't answer it yes or no because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. At Purdue, Christy Curry promised me she would be there for 4 years. Well, she left right before my senior year, so that was really rough on me. So I won't make them that promise, but I'll make them the promise that I'll do everything I can to make them be as successful as possible. You just gotta let them know you. I think for them to let you in, you've got to let them into who you are as a person. And it's easy because I enjoy it. I enjoy going to watch games. I enjoy getting to know people and talking to them about basketball or their life. It's a really fun process, a fun job. I think it means a lot that to have a head coach there. When I can send my 2 assistants to go watch some games, but when I really, really want a kid, I've got to make sure that I'm there. Just like whether it was my sophomore, junior, when all those head coaches were here in the gym, I've got to make sure that that's my job to be there, and they've got to see my face.
closes the deal.
I try.
It says we're serious.
I try, yeah.
So basically, did they make any deals for TJ? Like on the blind side with the little brother, they cut him any deal?
Oh, by Purdue?
Yeah. You said they got in tight with the family.
They did. We tried to. They wanted him to be on the practice squad.
Okay.
But he didn't want to. I don't know why. I think he just wanted to be the college student. We did live together, and TJ was my best friend there. We lived 2 years together. We had a house off campus. He beat me every morning or every night in Madden football or NBA Live or whatever it was. He probably beat me in it. But he would come to the gym with me. Everybody knew him there at Mackey, and they knew to let him in because he was coming in to rebound for me. So those 2 years with him were really, really special.
What else at Purdue? You get your degree in?
Sociology.
Sociology?
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I would have thought it'd been math.
It makes sense. That would have made sense.
Sociology, you kind of look out of uniform here. I'm used to seeing you in your shorts and your shirt and playing ball. Did you ever think of anything other than doing something with basketball?
No.
Even with a sociology major?
No, I went in as a pre-pharmacy major. In my first semester, it kicked my butt. It did. It was just 4 a.m., 5 a.m.s, and then having to get up and go to practice at 6 or practice for 3-4 hours a day, and then film sessions, study sessions, team meetings. I had a good first semester, but I remember talking to my mom and dad, I can't do this for 4 years. I know I want to play professional basketball. Yes, if something happens, then we'll figure it out and I'll go back to school and maybe I can hit this back up. But I knew I wanted to play professional basketball. I didn't know that I wanted to coach, but I knew I wanted to play as long as I could. So I remember talking to my assistant coach at Purdue, and we were like, okay, what do you want to study? I wanted to be a comm major. I want to study communications, and she's like, no, you can't do that. You can get a minor in it, but don't do that. So I was like, okay, so sociology, psychology, and history went in a hat. I pulled out Soc. And there it was, which was great because I loved my Soc classes. And then I got my minor in psych, history, and communications to go along with it. So. Did
you take Soc when you were here?
I don't remember. I don't even know that we.
I'm not sure we offered it when you were here.
That was that long
ago. Yeah, you're old. There's no doubt about it. You left Purdue with your degree in sociology. You already said you're going to go to pro ball. I think, if I remember, I think it's the only time I've ever watched the WNBA draft, and you were a first-round draft choice. Talk about how that process went out.
That was a really cool thing. I remember getting the call that I was invited to the draft, and it was rough because we had just lost in the Elite Eight at Purdue, and I went on and I ended up winning the college 3-point championship that year. And I got a call, and I was like, they invited me to the draft, and I was like, okay, this is cool, because I didn't know where I was going to fall. People talked first round, people talked second round. I was this slow white kid that could just shoot the basketball, and I was going to go try to play at the professional level against a bunch of really good athletes. So I got the call, and I was like, okay, then that must be mean first round. So my mom and dad, Coach Versip came out. Where were we? Cleveland. Maybe.
I don't remember. I think it was.
I think it was Cleveland, yeah. And with the seventh pick, the Storm picked me, and that was just a cool thing. I remember sitting at the table, and you didn't know where you were going to fall. The talk everybody talked about was Seattle was going to pick me, and when it was their pick, I remember just tapping my dad, and I was like, okay, this is me, and the camera pans in front of the table. I'm like, okay, the camera knows that before I knew it. So, it was cool. I don't think I've ever been so nervous walking up steps. But just to hold that uniform next to the WNBA commissioner was really, really cool. A dream come true.
And you played for them for how long?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, I did. I played 3 years out there. I was so blessed. I played with Sue Bird, Lauren Jackson, Cheryl Swoops. The coach that drafted me, she ended up leaving after she drafted me to concentrate on the U.S. Olympic team. So we got a new coach, and I liked him. I loved the way he coached. He was very, very particular about playing his 5 starters, and I came off the bench, and And I knew my job. My job was to come in and shoot it when I was there. Whether I missed it or made it, I was probably coming out. That was the job. But they paid me the money to do that. I said, okay, I'll do that. So we just I never could quite crack into what he wanted. But I was able to keep playing over in Europe for 6 years, and 6 or 7 years over in Europe, and that game over there in Europe was more. I took a liking more to it because it was a shooter's game, and I'm not the most athletic player, that for sure. I'm fortunate because I was long and tall, but I could shoot it, and that's what Europe wanted, and so for 6 or 7 years I made a living over there.
And what parts of Europe did you play?
Played in Athens for 3 years, or 2.5. I tore my ACL 1 year there. I played in Slovakia, Spain for 2 years, and Portugal. Was able to travel everywhere. And whether it was for 2 or 3 days to Moscow or Rome or Paris, Frankfurt, we traveled everywhere and played everywhere. And I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world. So blessed.
Get to see a bunch of the world over there, a bunch of Europe.
Yeah.
The pay structure and how things work financially, is the ball in Europe similar to what you would get in the WNBA, or since the seasons are longer, how does that work out? Because
I never got off a rookie contract in the WNBA, I was able to make more money in Europe, and it was nice because the teams that you played for, they paid your taxes, they paid your house, they paid your car. Some places where I was, I got 2 meals a day with them. So it was, the money was just going straight to my bank account, which was really, really nice. 22, 23, 24 years old, living that life. So that was a cool time. And like you said, I got to see some really cool places and just travel everywhere, basically making money doing it. So
now, when you played in Europe, were those teams limited by how many Americans could be on the team?
Yeah, usually it was 2 Americans a team, and then the rest were probably from Greece or from Spain. Every once in a while you would have another European player on your team, but it was always me and one other American. And it was really cool to get to know some personalities. I've got some really good friends, made some best friends. I vacation to Greece every summer for 2 or 3 weeks, the Greek islands, because I've made so many friends over there. And I'm super blessed. Now I
lost my train of thought there. When you played over there, was the seasons were longer than WNBA as well?
Right.
And the teams were owned by businesses type of thing?
Businessmen who wanted to show off that they had the best team.
So
that was
there's some ego. There's some Jerry Joneses over there.
That's what it was, because there was no, you didn't have to pay to get in to watch the game. You played in front of like 40 or 50 people, 200 if you were lucky. So they weren't making any money. It was just, I'm the boss. I'm going to show you that my money is more than your money, and I have the best team.
What type of connection did you have that got you over there? How did you find out about it, or how did they find out about you, or how did that happen?
I had an agent. Actually, I worked with Katie Douglas's ex-husband for a while. He was a Greek man, and he got me to Greece. He took me to Slovakia first for about half a season, and then we went to Greece for about 2 years. Then I ended up switching agents, but it was, they did all the work. I just, looked over the contracts and signed it. And
did they watch tape, or how did they?
The agent would send, some tape to the team or the president. They'd have a look at it. And, fortunately for me, I had a reputation. And so most teams in Europe were well aware of what I could do. And, they would reach out to my agent and make me an offer.
Okay. Well, you finally decided to quit playing.
Yeah.
At what point in your career did you think, okay, this is going to end? You blew out your knee at one point. You had to be thinking, sooner or later I'm going to have to give this up. Yeah. Is that when you start thinking about coaching, or what was the thought process then?
I don't know. I had worked, because I'd quit playing in the WNBA, I had worked some Purdue camps with Coach Versip and Coach Painter up there for a couple summers in a row, and I said, okay, this is kind of fun, Even though they were younger kids, I was like, this is kind of cool. Maybe I could, coach college one day. never thought it would have happened so early. I was 28 years old when I decided to hang him up, and just came off probably my best professional season over in Portugal. We won the league championship, and then went on to win the playoffs too. I was up at Purdue, and I got a call that the Marian University job came open. I was like, okay, what's it going to hurt to put my name in? If it happens, then it's God's will, and it's time to hang him up. If not, I go back to Europe and keep playing. I was in the best shape of my life. And, I had Coach Curry, who was at Texas Tech at the time, had worked with the athletic director, Steve Downing, a big IU guy. And I asked her to make a call for me, and then the coach now, Coach Versip, called him for me too, and he called me and he said, I'll bring you in for an interview. I went in. 7 hours later after that interview, I felt like I got it. I told him that I was going on vacation. I was going to Vegas for about 10 days. And he's like, okay, I'll wait for you to get back. As soon as my plane landed, I had a phone call, and it was him. He's like, I want to bring you in for a second interview. It's like, okay. And I sat down, and he offered me the job, and I said, okay, this is time. I miss it. I miss playing ridiculously. I play, every once in a while. I'll get out there and run with the kids a little bit, or play with some guys on campus every now and then. Nothing will ever, replace playing. But coaching is probably the next best thing to it. Yeah, it's my mom and dad always ask me, "Are you ready to stop? Are you sure this is what you want?" And how couldn't I be? I was 28 years old, yeah, but I was going to be back home. I was going to be able to see my mom and my dad, my brother, my sister. I was going to be able to see my family. And that everybody knows how important my family is to me, so that was a big decision. Anywhere else, if the job is anywhere else, probably I don't apply for it. But because it was here in India, it made it so much easier.
And did you ever, in the thought process, did you ever think about high school ball or anything like that?
No.
It's going to be college. It's going to be college.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely going to be college.
No doubt. I can tell by your response. That never crossed your mind.
Never.
You don't think you'd like to chase these high school kids around?
Absolutely not. I struggle with the patience with the college kids.
With what's going on in the NBA now with Becky Hammonds and things like that, did you ever think about a guy's situation?
No, I have recently, actually, especially with Coach McGoo down in Florida, coaching her high school boys team. The last 2 years she's coached the year in the state of Florida, coaching a high school boys team. So I really, really like the women's game. I understand it. I'd have a lot to learn to try to coach the men's game. It's a completely different game.
Not quite as much finesse.
No.
At all. You finished a very successful season at Marian University last year. You told me on the way in that you thought you'd be even better this year. How does the pressure, you have a mindset as a player, like you talked about your senior year, well, we're going to do that, and you can control that to a certain degree as a player. How do you feel as a coach, going in, you can only do so much as a coach, and then you have to sit back and watch.
Yeah.
How does that translate for you?
It's hard. It's very hard, especially the first year. Last year was the first year I probably never learned more than I did that year. Just coaching basketball is like trying to drive your car on ice. You can tell your car exactly what to do, but it is not going to listen to you. Maybe you get lucky and the car does what you need it to do, and that's how we feel. We just try our best to prepare them the best we can. My girls probably, there's such a love-hate relationship. They know I love them, and then I'm sure that they hate me sometimes, but that's my job, and we'll do everything we can to prepare them, whether it's scouting or watching film or 6 a.m.s right now before classes. So it's just a matter of getting them as prepared as possible, and then it's their time to shine, and you kind of step back and let them do their thing.
You've mentioned your family a couple, 3 times already, and they are a very special group.
Yeah.
Your mother sends the best emails in the world. But talk a little bit about where they're at catch us up on what they're doing.
Okay.
TJ, he's one of my all-time favorites too. We see Amy all the time. She's always bringing food in from Mark. Tell us a little bit about your family, what they're doing, how they're keeping up, and how things are working out for them.
Mom and Dad are great. Still live on 9th Street, same house. My bedroom has now become Jackson's bedroom. I think all his toys and stuff. Jackson is, Amy and Mark's 2-year-old. He's awesome. But Amy is over at Central now. I think she's coaching volleyball and basketball right now. I think TJ is he's married. And he lives in Decatur Township. Works at he's a big boss man down in Mooresville somewhere where they repair and manufacture airplane parts. So next time you get on a plane, just think TJ probably gave that the okay. He was telling me some things the other day. I said, "Don't tell me anymore. That's enough. That's enough." But he's married. Just got married this summer. Happily married and. Doing really well for himself. I have another sister. She didn't go to Beech Grove. She lived in Florida, but it's really good. It's really cool, Sean. It's really cool to be around her because she's married and I have a niece and a nephew there, and so it's cool to see them grow. I miss so much of their life. They moved here, and I went to Purdue, and then after Purdue, I went, to Seattle and then over in Europe. So it's really cool to be back and be able to see everybody. It's my family is the most important thing to me.
Well, we have been very happy to start our school year with Katie Gearalds. Katie, we could have talked for days with Katie. There's a reason she may be one of the, if she's not the best athlete the school's ever produced, I'm not sure we've seen it yet. She was named the best player in the game in the state of Indiana, and it doesn't get any better than that as far as I'm concerned. You can take it to New York, they can have New York and all that stuff. If you're the best player in Indiana, you're the best. And the nice thing about Katie is, as great an athlete as she was, she kind of sells herself short on that, but she's a fantastic athlete, not just basketball. I remember patrolling center field for the softball team and golfing and all those kinds of things. A great athlete. She's an even better person, and she was a great student. She was a great example for the rest of our students, and even though she took us to heights we had never experienced before, I'm not sure anybody else could have put those people in the stands like she did. A lot of them were there to see Katie. A lot of little kids were there to see Katie, and it does as the Renaissance Committee, we're very happy to have her in the Hall of Fame now. We've been waiting 12 years. We were talking off air. I was getting phone calls, why isn't she in the Hall of Fame yet? And so we invoked the Katie rule, just like we invoked a lot of things. But finally, the time has come, and we're very, very happy to have Katie Gearalds in the athletic academic alumni Hall of Fame. First member of her class to go in, and the first member of the Hall of Fame induction class for the 15-16 school year. So again, congratulations, Katie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. Hope you have another great season.
Thanks so much.
And we're looking forward to watching you. Maybe ESPN will get in a little more NAIA this year, and we'll get to see you on TV.
I think we need to make it to the national championship game for that to happen.
Works for us.
Works for me too.
And that's the other thing. When we see Katie on there, and one thing I always loved, reading the media guides and reading anything, it was always Beech Grove. It was never someplace else.
I'm from Beech Grove.
Thank you very much. And that's something, as people from Beech Grove, we appreciated it a great deal. You never forgot us.
I'm a Grover.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, homecoming, September 11th, and we'll be back next month with another member of the Alumni Hall of Fame.